So, would you? Okay, this is gonna be the last question. Austin, we'll start with you. Would you consider making change on the foundations or no?
If it's what the people want, I am open to change.
Okay, cool, cool. All right, Caleb.
Yo, 3 words though? Yo, we the people.
All right, would you mind answering the question for me?
That's my answer. I'm not gonna answer any further.
All right, politics at its finest. I see. What were the stances on trades? Molly asks. Okay, so we can ask that real quick, and then we'll go over a brief Q&A. Oh, I guess we'll just make this the Q&A. Molly, you can feel free to unmute and ask a question for both candidates, and they can both be unmuted and answer.
I wanted to know what the stances on unfair trades were. I know that you guys said that, like, okay, that's bad, but like, what are you actually gonna do about it?
So with unfair trades, I'd say rules, are the actual process of making those rules are left to the council since that's not our main job, or it's not our main role. However, my stance on it is let's say unfair trades, like an unfair trade happens. Uh, if the trade hasn't, if someone is still arguing about the trade, like they can I guess our role is that the people, like the two people involved with that unfair trade can go to the adjudicator, and then the adjudicator can make a case where he decide like that person decides whether that trade is fair or not. But if the trade already has occurred, let's say someone's been scammed, then a case would arise, and if that person's then the person who's scammed, uh, they would get a punishment of giving their character back, and I would say also a fine of Kagra, or another punishment like a mute or a deafen, you know. But that's my stance.
Okay, awesome.
I have a pretty similar stance, but I have a clarification question. Molly, are you asking about like enforcement or basically what Caleb answered?
I was asking what Caleb answered there, but I was gonna ask about enforcement afterwards if you want. That's what I was gonna ask next.
I believe the admin of the server has the ability to suspend privileges in the battleground and waifu arena, so I think the person who has scammed or something of that manner would not be allowed to continue until giving the character back and paying the fine.
Okay, okay. Molly, if you have any further questions, ask them now. If not, I'm gonna ask someone else if they have any questions.
I think I'm good.
Okay, cool. Gavin, this is your opportunity to. Oh, I have you server muted. You're good to go.
Hi, long time watcher, first time asker. Both of you have made it very clear that your interests lie with the people. Your main goal is to help others and further push what the server wants as a collective. But somebody that's included in the people that I feel is often underrepresented is the 1%, those at the top. I was wondering, would you do anything in your power to help enforce, hypothetically, a power-hungry tyrannical monster? What is your stance on assisting those? Thank you.
I believe that part of the checks and balance system in place by our government would have both of us, I think we would agree on this, not support a tyrannical government.
Yeah, I would be highly against that, not gonna lie. That's why these checks and balances are involved, to prevent someone being too powerful.
All right, thank you both very much. You're wrong, though.
I have an addition to Gavin's statement.
Okay.
You guys are in fact wrong, and none of you guys are gonna get my vote because tyranny is the way to go.
Tyranny? What the fuck is
I'm
tyranny?
sorry, he said tyranny.
All right, Raph has been server muted. We're moving on. Daniel, do you have a question at this moment in time?
I do have a question. As we do know, there are other there are other political officials and other candidates that are running. For example, for head administrator, we have 3 candidates that are running. Uh, I would like to ask each candidate what their idea based on each candidate and whether they think that each candidate is uh, a effective can be an effective candidate for this Discord server. I would just like to see the idea and opinion.
Opinion. That's
Wait,
what
so
he's
you're
looking
so
for.
are you asking
I would-
for our opinion on the other candidates and who we
I
should
would like, yeah, I would like
For
to
head,
ask
let's keep it
your-
to head administrator only.
I
Just go ahead.
personally do not think it is very professional to give opinions on other political figures.
I agree with that. Yeah, that's very awesome. Yeah, especially since this is an adjudicator only debate. I feel like our opinion should be respected to ours only.
That is fine.
I
do
would not
have-
want to influence another election in some sort of unfair way.
Thank you for that.
Okay. If anyone
I
has,
have
okay,
one
go for it.
more
Go
question.
for it.
So, we do have a lot of like arguments on the server, right? Like I know the big thing that the adjudicator is supposed to do is like, because there are a lot of arguments specifically related to the battleground, but like specifically ones where you argue over different how good a game is or whatnot. How would you keep your opinion unbiased?
So here's the thing: with that, to keep our opinion unbiased, we have to open a jury. A jury would be selected of at least 3, like 3 random people on the survey. That's where our unbiased comes from with deciding which game is better.
Okay, but how would you specifically avoid your own personal bias regardless of the jury?
I mean, since see, here's the thing. With even though we might have some bias, I mean, I can't really be controlled with that. That's why the jury. So here's the thing. With those types of cases, majority of the jury would be the final say of that case. So let's say, let's go with DS3 and what's that other game? Oh yeah, StarCraft, right? So those 2 games, right? Let's say the jury is 2 out of 3 for DS3. DS3 wins. That's how jury works. The adjudicator won't have really much say besides opening the case itself, since they're not going to let bias influence the actual decision of the case.
Okay, Austin.
I agree with what Caleb has said, but I also think that it's very difficult to avoid bias in those specific types of questions and concerns that we will have because they themselves are asking for the bias of the majority. Like,
Yes, sir.
if you're asking for which game is better, for example, that is in itself a
Server
bias
needs-
question.
Good soul.
I did really like neither of you mentioned like going back to the facts of the case or something because you never know what facts are going to be in place, but I guess that's not important.
Well, the fact is, Dark Souls 3 is better.
It's not though. I'm sorry, I'll be quiet. Don't serve me.
Moving on. Sam, it appears you just joined. If you have a question, I'm going to. Swear I can disable this man's camera.
Turn off this camera.
Can I? Okay. We're going with cameras for the candidates and the moderator only as at the moment. Caleb, I'd prefer you not assaulting the other candidates. Sam, if you do have a question for the candidates of Adjudicator, now would be the time. I will unmute you, but you will be quickly muted if it's not a direct question. And if you don't have a question, you don't have to say anything, so no worries.
Is the question about anything?
About their positions, stances on their role as adjudicator.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Can I have both candidates stand up to see if they're wearing nice pants, or are they just wearing a nice suit?
No, that question does not need to be answered.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, because I want to see how seriously they're taking this.
I have a question as well.
Okay, Raph, you can go ahead. Sam, you're
Okay. ass or tits?
All right, ref, you're muted.
I wish you ever unmute him.
I do have an actual.
Okay, go for it,
question.
Daniel. And I'm gonna say this is the last question.
Okay, so as in the Constitution, it does state that if there is no law about a specific sentencing on a certain case, the adjudicator is able to give and choose the full sentencing. So my question is, as an educator, if there is this situation where there is no law determining the sentencing of it, what are your factors and what would you go off by for the sentencing of the case, and how severe would you go on certain cases?
Well, factors we gotta consider. If the case has a jury or not. The jury can decide. So, majority of the jury can decide who wins the case and whatever. They can also have influence on the actual punishment, while the adjudicator has the final say. We also have the checks and balances of the HA. The HA can step in, and if they think a punishment is too harsh for that certain case, they can limit, not fully dissolve of that punishment. They can limit the actual harshness of the punishment. So let's say someone does something and then they get banned for, let's say, 5 days. Like, this is too extreme here. The HK could definitely step in and they could be like, "Yo, this is way too harsh. Let's do it for like just 20 minutes," and the HA would have their final say. So yeah.
Are you stating that you would potentially ban someone for 5 days?
No, I'm giving an example to the extreme.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, awesome.
If it's a complicated case and there is no precedent or law, then a jury must be called. That's what I would do. If it's something simple that I can tell that most of the server would agree with, I will just make a judgment call that can be overturned by the head administrator or members of the council.
Okay, cool. If since that was gonna be our last question, I'm gonna call it there. Good debate. Appreciate you being respectful to each other, and we're gonna end it there.